Assalamu alaikum students. Now we are going to start Unit 3 of Oxford Progressive English Class 6. Open your books at page 50. The title of the lesson is The Schoolmaster. Thomas Gradgrind saw his pupils as little empty jugs to be filled full of facts. He was like a cannon loaded with facts, and he was ready to blow his pupils out of the region of childhood into the region of facts. Imagination was to be blown away. Girl number 20 called Mr. Gradgrind, pointing his finger at a new pupil. Who are you, girl? Please, sir, Sissy Jupe, sir, answered girl number 20, blushing. Sissy is not a name. Girl number 20. Call yourself Cecilia, said Mr. Gradgrind sternly. Sternly means harshly. My father calls me Sissy, whispered Sissy. Whispered means when you say something in a slow voice. Then tell him he shouldn't. And what is your father? Asked the schoolmaster. Please, sir, a horsebreaker. Sissy answered shyly. A horsebreaker is a person who trains or tames a horse. So he breaks in horses. Does he? Very well. Tell me your definition of a horse, Cecilia, ordered Mr. Gradgrind. Sissy blushed more deeply and was unable to utter a word. Utter means to say something. Girl number 20 has not the necessary facts to define a horse, cried Mr. Gradgrind harshly. He pointed to a pale boy. Bitzer, we'll turn to you. Mr. Gradgrind, square finger has lighted. Lighted means raised on Bitzer because he happened to be sitting in the same ray of sunlight which darting in from one of the bare windows lit up Sissy. But where Sissy was, so dark-haired, dark-eyed, that she seemed to receive a deeper and more lustrous color from the sun when it shone upon her. Lustrous means something which is shining. The boy was so light-eyed and light-haired that the same rays of the sun seemed to draw out from him what little color he possessed. His cold eyes were pale. His short, cropped hair looked a continuation of his pale and freaky face. His skin was so unwholesomely pale that he looked as though if he were cut, he would bleed white. Well, students, the lesson is actually an extract from Charles Dickens' masterpiece Hard Times. Mr. Gradgrind wants his students to have nothing to do with the imagination and just to learn facts. When he sees a new girl in the class, he calls her as girl number 20. When she tells her name as Sissy, he insists her on saying Cecilia. On asking what does her father do, she tells that he tames horses. Then he wants to know facts about horses, and he asks Bitzer to tell the facts. Now come to the text again. Bitzer, Mr. Gradgrind continued, your definition of horse. Now Bitzer answers, quadruped. Quadruped means having 4 legs. Sir, Bitzer answered immediately, gramnivores. Gramnivores is an animal which eats grass. 40 teeth, sheds coat in the spring, hoofs hard, each known by the marking in the mouth. The facts poured means came out from the boy, and more would have followed if Mr. Gradgrind had not interrupted him. And interrupted means to stop. Now girl number 20. You know what a horse is? Facts, facts, facts. You are to be ruled at all times by facts. You must have nothing to do with the imagination. In this life, we want nothing but facts. Sissy curtsied. Curtsied means to bow humbly again, and would have blushed more deeply if she could have blushed more deeply than she had blushed all the time. Now, in these lines, when he asked Bitzer to tell the facts about the horse, he pours out facts about the animal, like horses has 4 legs, it has 40 teeth and sheds its coat in spring season and has hard hooves. Mr. Gradgrind encourages Bitzer and makes Sissy feel that she has nothing to do with the imagination and she must learn only facts like Bitzer. Now come to page 50. Here under the title of reading for detail, here the questions are given. You have to prepare the page like this because I have already done these questions for you. You have to prepare the page like mentioning unit 3, school days, then the title of the lesson, Schoolmaster, and reading for detail. And the first question, why did the writer describe Mr. Gradgrind as a canon? The answer is he was forceful and spoke very harshly. He cared for nothing except what he said. That's why the writer has described him as a canon. Second question, Mr. Gradgrind calls Sissy girl number 20. What does this tell you about his ideas about education? The answer is Mr. Gradgrind calls Sissy girl number 20. This is a fact and his ideas about education are based on facts only. Question 3. What do you think Mr. Gradgrind thinks of Sissy's father's profession? The answer is while talking about Sissy's father's profession, Mr. Gradgrind assumes an ironic tone, showing that he doesn't believe her. And the next one, how do Bitzer and Sissy differ in appearance? Answer is Sissy was dark-haired and dark-eyed while Bitzer was light-haired and pale in color. Last question, how do the responses of the Sissy and Bitzer to Mr. Gradgrind's question differ? The answer is the responses of Sissy and Bitzer to Mr. Gradgrind's question were quite different. Sissy blushed and couldn't utter a word. Bitzer was confident and he poured out facts. So lesson is done. Thank you so much.